Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets, interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen. Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages. I am your host, Kim Wanup, and I am 2 weeks away from shooting, people. 2 weeks away. We have 4, eventually 5 full stages of sets, and this is crunch time. And this is when all your dreams should be coming true, and everything came in on time, and all the fabrics work together. And then you get it all there, and you have plenty of time, and you're ready to shoot. And then you wake up, and you wake up in a nightmare and a cold sweat because everything is delayed. Conference tables, sofas, tiny little buttons that needs to go on a spaceship. Shipping is not my friend right now. And so the panic is starting to get to me. The stress of it all is getting to me, and you start to look around and you walk through stages and you think, how is this going to be ready to shoot in 2 weeks? And I don't know. I know that I feel like this on almost every show. I absolutely remember on American Crime Story walking through the set like a week before, and there was dust and construction work, and the stage was just a mess, and I had dressing everywhere, and it was so unorganized for everyone. And I was like, there is no way this is gonna clean up and shape up for a shooting crew and be lit perfectly to shoot. And it was somehow that all came together, and I don't know how this will. But I'm sure it's going to be great. The good thing for the stage work is that we are on location for the first week. So, no pressure for me. There's only 8 sets the first week, full dresses. So that's cool. But yeah, this is the anxiety and the pressure that you have as a set decorator, and it might be once a season, it might be every episode, it might be all the time, which I don't know if you did diarrhea all the time then. I don't know. It might not be for you if it's all the time. So, but this is what it is, and most likely my crew and myself are going to work the next 2 weekends, probably all the way up till the holiday, and I think my crew has to work the holiday weekend to wrap a location. So it's like the next 26, 27 days we are stuck with each other. And thank God I work with people who I love, because it's a lot, and they know it's a lot, and everyone does their job and everyone tries hard, and that's all you can ask for, because in the end it's just a TV show. So that is the one thing I've learned. It took me a long time to prioritize myself and my family, of course, before myself, honestly. But it takes a long time not to put your job first. And I think in this career, and in a lot, I always don't want to single out as Hollywood being the hardest thing ever, because we're not pushing concrete. It's hard to not put it first. You're always putting your job first. And I think this is probably maybe only the second show that I've been on where if I'm not working, I don't feel the absolute need to answer an email when it comes to me on a Sunday at 3 p.m. or 7 a.m. I'm sorry, but there has to be some limitations. I know that email is oh, I emailed it to you, so you didn't have to check it or you didn't have to answer, but you're still invading my world. We get alerts. That we see email. texting, even at that. You know, we're just constantly inundated with, you know, people can get to us at any time to work, and you gotta have some boundaries. Now I'm saying this and I'm not the best at it, so I'm trying to let people know who want to do this to set some boundaries, because I was never very good at that. But I am super duper duper excited to see everything come together, because I got into 2 sets already and they're looking pretty fab, people. They're looking like we're going to take off to Mars. It's cool. It's going to be cool. We could go to the moon in these things. It's amazing. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. And yet, in the last 2 weeks, I have watched, Wanup's been watching some tube. I watched that 6-part episode on HBO called The Last Movie Stars, about Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward and their love affair in Hollywood, and how they made their marriage last through working together and not working together, and her, you know, having a family and drug addiction and a child dying, and they went through a lot. And many things I didn't know, like Paul Newman was married when they met. I honestly didn't know about Paul Newman's son having a drug problem and dying young. And the director of it is Ethan Hawke, who I don't really like, but I think he did a decent job. Basically, I think all over Zoom, getting other actors to portray real people, like using their voice in like love letters. Like George Clooney is Paul Newman, and Laura Linney is Joanne Woodward, and it was good. Scorsese's in it, and I don't know, it was really good, and it was really good to appreciate all these old films, just to look back at their careers and films that I hadn't seen or love. And I think I'm going to get on a little Paul Newman, Joanne Woodward kick, and I started with A Long Hot Summer the other night, which there is a shade of green in this southern house, the southern like plantation house, that I just know no one would be able to use today, but it's throughout the whole house, and it's kind of magnificent. Just, it's this like, almost like a pea green almost. I also wonder how much of the tint was played around with, because Paul Newman's eyes are just aqua. They're just amazing. I was never really into Paul Newman, but you watch that documentary and boy, oh boy, what a handsome man. And even to the end, I just think a handsome man. So I would definitely recommend that. Again, it's on HBO, 6-part series episode. What else? I finished Blackbird on Hulu. Oofa. That was a little rough. I really had a hard time with the last episode. It was a little rough to get through with like murders and stuff, and but it was really good. It's really eerie, and you know, this whole jail cell that they shot, and the prisoner life, and a lot of sets that I hope there was like a hoarder house that I hope it was a found location, because that would have been rough. But yeah, Blackbird, very good. Only Murders in the Building, still enjoying that one. And then I caught Lightyear, Disney, with the boys, and we did that over, I think, 3 nights. I have to agree, I don't think the story was that great, but it's still good. It's not great. It's no Toy Story. I don't know about that. The animation or the Pixar of it is fantastic, of course. And the Pixar of it is fantastic. The boys watch like a Tom and Jerry to remember what old school animation was, because they get stuck on, like, they're over Coco Melon now, thank God. But this Paw Patrol, and I don't know. Yeah, I just want to make sure that they know about old good animation, Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse type stuff. The new Mickey Mouse Club is shit. So just know that. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. It is Emmy time. It's awards season, and we had the SDSA awards were announced this past week. I wanted to go over those a little bit. The best achievement in decor and design for a limited series, Obi-Wan Kenobi won. Set decoration by Jan Pascal and production design by Todd Chernosky and Doug Chiang. Best achievement for 1 hour contemporary season, Secession won, with Joey Tata as the decorator and production design by Stephen Carter. Best achievement in production design for 1 hour period went to The Marvelous Miss Maisel. Set decoration by Ellen Christensen and production design by Bill Groom. Best 1 hour fantasy or science fiction, Stranger Things. Set decoration by Jess Royal and production design by Chris Trujillo. Best achievement in decor and design, half hour single series, was Hacks. Set decoration by this episode, Jennifer Lukeheart, and production design by Alex Contestable. And best achievement in half-hour multi-camera went to How I Met Your Father. Set decoration by Amy Feldman. Production design by Glenda Ravallo. Best achievement in variety, reality, or competition series was Harry Potter Hogwarts Tournament of Houses and Heidi Miller, set decorator, and production design by John Janvis. Best achievement for variety special went to Live in Front of the Studio Audience, set decoration by Jerry Kilter, and production design by Stephen Olson. Best achievement for daytime series went to Young and the Restless, set decoration by Jennifer Haybach and Justin Mercado and Maria Dyroff, with production design by David Hoffman. Best achievement for short format web series music video went to Apple Music Billie Eilish, Happier Than Ever, set decoration by Jill Crawford, and production design by Francois Audi. And those were the winners. So congratulations to everyone there. Again, you can listen to Live in Front of the Studio Audience. You can listen to Jerry Kelter. You really just want to listen to Jerry Kelter, but Stephen Olson and art director Raflin and on a previous episode. And then you can listen to this episode for Jennifer Lukeheart talking about Hacks and the White Lotus, and surprisingly not Gaslit, which I thought was a shoo-in. But yeah, congratulations to all the winners there. On this episode, I speak with set decorator Jennifer Lukeheart about her career and how she is currently nominated for 2 Emmys. Could you imagine? 2 deuce. Actually, I can't imagine 2. Twins. Outstanding production design for half hour for Hacks, and outstanding production design for 1 hour contemporary for The White Lotus. Now, Jennifer got her start as a PA and working on music videos, and as she describes, was very inquisitive and just kind of worked her way up and fell in with a great production designer who was able to kind of bring her up, and that's always helpful. The rest of her story is kind of unbelievable because she decorated music videos in the early 2000s, including from Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Gwen Stefani, Shakira, and so many more. If you look at her music videos, you're like, those are like just staples. Just pure, like the fashion, the sets, the music, it's like, takes you back. She then moved into films like 500 Days of Summer, and then got in a little scripted TV. Jennifer has set decorated the revamp of Arrested Development. She did the first season of the Goldbergs. She's done a season of Too Young to Die and many more. And then in the last year, I don't know how she had time to sleep, a year and a half or so, she did HBO's The White Lotus, HBO's Hacks, and Showtime's period drama Gaslit. So, I hope you enjoy. Laundry. I got swimming with twins at...
well, at least they're swimming with twins.
Yeah, swimming with twins Maybe some coffee, and that's about it. What are you doing?
We start tech scouting Monday. So I'm also relishing into like, I want to get the house organized and make sure things are on the iPad. I'm also technically not awesome. I'm really trying to make the move to the iPad instead of 20 million random notes places.
I know. I have made the move to the iPad, but still have a notebook at all times. And
what
then
I'm afraid of.
I find myself taking a picture of my notes and then putting that into Notability, but I think Notability for Tech Scouts and Tech Scout Notes is my best friend at this point.
Okay. I don't have that. I have Scriptation, and then my husband has GoodNotes, but we're both trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's super easy to import pictures, and you can just draw right over them.
Right.
That's whatever program I think helps do that is like the best. Now, if they could just measure everything and pick the furniture, it'd be.
Is there an app for that?
Yeah. We need that. I like all the tape measuring apps that are out.
I know.
It's like, how many people are out there using this? And levels. A lot of levels.
Yeah.
Thank you for a Saturday at 4 p.m. Thank you. As you can see, when I was scheduling, I was like, I can't. I gotta go. I gotta do work. I know I gotta do mom in the morning, and then I gotta go to work, and then hopefully she can do it in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Are you enjoying this the process of the Emmy nominations?
It's mostly been confusing so far,
right?
But I finally kind of, the invites went out last week, but it was just a lot of when are they? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to do something? Yeah. But yeah, now that it's getting closer, so it's starting to feel a little more exciting and fun.
The peer group party is always fun.
Okay.
That's always and the SDSA Emmy party is always fun.
Right.
That's always fun.
Yes.
I'm gonna try to make the SDSA one, I hope, but I live in Redondo now, so it's so far.
Oh,
but I'm gonna try to make it because they're just always the best, and everyone's so happy, and it's the best time to talk about your crew.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's also when you get the mic and the designer doesn't.
Yeah, which I haven't thought about that much.
Yeah. I was like, then I can hand off to him, which he was a doll, but at the same time, you're kind of this is about decorating and then production design, which is kind of nice.
Way around.
Yeah, and having the guy, and you can invite. Usually you can invite your whole crew, which is always really nice.
Oh, okay.
So you have two. Do you have the same crew usually following you?
I throughout my career mostly have not, because I would finish something and then take time off or go do commercials again, or so I was sort of not even enough, I think. Right. And then Gaslit into Hacks was gonna be the same crew, but then my lead man got an offer to go do a feature, so I gave him my blessing to go do that. Oh.
That's rough.
So yeah, but my assistant decorator and a lot of people crossed over, so it wasn't.
I see these projects with your name on it for the last 3 years, and I'm so jealous. So jealous.
It's been a crazy run.
Hawaii. I'm not that jealous of Hacks. Yeah. I'm not that jealous of Hacks, because I Veep was very much Hacks-ish. Yeah. From what I've heard, and because I have worked with Morgan Sackett and David Hyman, yes. So I've heard all about it. I love the show, but I'm so glad I don't work on it.
I was generally it's more funny than fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know why. It should be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm working on a comedy. Why am I crying? No.
Contemporary comedy. Coming off of Gaslit, I was like, this is gonna be breezy.
And then, but then the the period factor of Gaslit is like, you just have not stopped. I mean,
no, that was White Lotus. I think it was basically like once I went back after during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I got a little commercial. I did some movie reshoots. Then it was like right into White Lotus, it just was kind of nonstop for sure.
You're based in LA,
Yes.
and then so you get a call to go to Hawaii for White Lotus? I mean,
that was with Laura Fox, who was my long time, who I started out in music videos as her PA with.
That's so awesome.
50 some years ago. And I wasn't available. I was going back to the show that I had been on before the shutdown. And she called me for a reference on a prop master. And as we were talking, I was like, I want to do your show. And she was like, oh my God, could you come do it? Because she hadn't, found a decorator. So I had to very ungraciously at the last minute bail on the show I had been on, which I felt really bad about. But then White Lotus ended up, at this point, I think anyone holds that against me.
Yeah. I think it's, as you were saying, like, you were gracious and, you kind of give your blessing to your lead man who wanted to do a movie. I have a lot of buyers who love to work with me, but they all leave me when something better comes along. And it's like, well, you can't begrudge people of projects they want to do. And the timing of, I think that's so understated in our world, how a slice of a week or two will put you out of a job for months if you don't take it. So, you can't tell people please stay here and don't take that job that's going to go for 8 months. Stay with me for another week.
And that's how I always have, I can't expect complete loyalty from a crew where then I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to Cleveland to do a movie for 5 months and I can't bring, so yeah, I think you have to accept that it's a freelance business and we're all making whatever choices work for families and careers and spouses.
We're all free.
Yeah.
How long were you in Hawaii for White Lotus?
It was quick. I think I had a week of prep here by myself to guess maybe 2 weeks. I don't know, and throw stuff on a shipping container.
Wow.
I think I got to Maui October 12th and we were wrapped by Christmas.
So you did it after COVID. This was 2020. I've lost track of what years. I know.
No, Hawaii was closed. The Four Seasons was closed when we got there.
So it was October of 2020.
Yes.
And then you shot till December. That was perfect timing. They were closed.
It was quick. It was great. They were, we didn't leave the resort. We were not allowed off the resort for the first
bummer
month and a half. I know it was a wonderful prison.
Oh my God.
But it was weird. People would send me things to go see on Maui and places to eat. And I was like, no, I don't think you understand. I'm just in the resort. We don't leave. And then at a certain point, we did film a few days off.
Yeah. The airport.
Off the resort. So we had to go scout. And at that point, things started to loosen up. And then the hotel opened up for Thanksgiving. Mm. So they were open, with pretty low capacity until we were there. And then they literally were kicking us out right before Christmas.
It was 2005 or 6 or something. I went to Hawaii on Oahu, and I visited Carol Kelly, who was doing Lost, and Scott Meehan was the art director. I don't know if you knew him. He's a big Hawaii guy. He and her, we met up, and they gave me this tour, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a dream job. This is amazing. And they were like, well, it's hot and we work on a lot of sand and it's really hard to get things. And this was kind of before Amazon was what it is now. And even then, and like even now, I'm sure it's hard to still get things. And I'm wondering how much of a challenge that was to get things to the island in time, especially with COVID, because even that slowed everything down.
And then stores were open, I guess, on the island. So I had an assistant decorator in Honolulu and then a buyer on Maui, who I never met in person. I finally met my Maui buyer at the end because he came and helped us wrap. And by then we could, like, the bubble wasn't quite so intense.
Okay.
And luckily they just knew all the people and the places and, you know, what. But yeah, there were days, I mean, there was a day I was like, forget the color, you know, for the duvet or whatever. I was like, it's a hotel. It should just be white anyway. Let's buy an extra one so we're not ruining the hotel's queen size white duvet. And there was not one on Maui. Someone had just like redone their hotel or all their Airbnbs or their rental apartments, and there were just no queen size white duvet covers.
It's always the easy things. And you're like, no, I've seen that a million times. Just run down to Kmart. Oh, wait.
My whole career I've been looking at that. And now the one time I need it, can't find it.
Yes,
always.
That happens all the time.
All the time.
And when are there builds off of what was there? Like his office and all, like, was that...
That was just a small meeting room.
Oh, wow. I love his office. I love his office.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of the only, it wasn't just a hotel. I mean, not that they were just hotel rooms, but where you could put a little, you know, character into it.
Yeah.
That was in a small meeting room. And then the suites, which we just decided early on, we knew we weren't going to be able to do anything. You know, we couldn't paint, we couldn't whatever, so it was just all we had. A draper, Andrea Hambuchen, who just sat in a ballroom and sewed drapes and fake headboards that we would like pin on or velcro double two-sided and like wrap, you know, reupholster their chair cushions, or I would get things in and we'd do them all in these fabrics. But we just committed to like each room was going to have a fabric and a theme and a color, and we had to go from there.
There's such great characters in the back, like the deep blues and the greens. Like it's so attractive. It's such a like I can't wait to get to Hawaii feeling too, because you're like, oh, that print just makes me want to be on vacation.
Yeah.
The headboards especially too, like they're just so vibrant. It gets what's going on in the scenes. They're so great.
Yeah, because the hotel is lovely, but it is beige for days, especially the rooms. The nicer, the fancier suites have, you know, custom furniture in them. But I think Mike White in his first meeting with Laura, they came up, it was like a luxurious, but kind of a tropical Madonna Inn, like, you know, like a heavy theme. So that's always what we were working off of. But
pineapples.
Then we couldn't go full kitsch, except maybe with those pineapples.
Pineapples. It's definitely always the way to go to just sell Hawaii, I think. Are you involved in all of season 2, or is that like in Italy or somewhere, right?
No, they went to Italy.
Yeah.
And Laura, I was on something and Laura was on something too, so we were both not available. But yeah, when Mike sent us a picture of some like beautiful Italian prep room that they were in, and my note was, it needs more pineapples. Yeah. Looks lovely, needs more pineapples.
More pineapples. Do you like that type of show, like it's 13 and done, like I'm done, or do you like to work in stories and seasons? And
I have not really done I've never done 2 seasons of them. I've never done more than a season of a show. So I don't have that sense of like coming back and knowing what you have in the warehouse and knowing what you can pull from. It's always kind of just like being dropped in and trying to dig through.
Yeah, I'm in that world now, but
yes.
I really like it. I used to like it. I mean, I guess I like both, because I like, I can develop this over time, and this season I'm going to grow with this person and whatever. But then there's something nice about like, done.
I don't think about that again.
Done.
Yeah.
We don't, like, you're done the show and you don't have to worry about like the continuity of this. Like, there's something really nice about that too, which is like, which used to be the mini-series world, which is now called like limited series. It's nice. It's kind of nice to be.
It is. I always felt, having worked in like music videos, commercials, TV, limited series, features, they all have their like perks and things that when you're done with one, like I used to just like, I'd end a movie and just want to go do commercials. And then I'd do commercials for long and be like, oh, I can't stand to do another commercial. I need something more long form. I would just go back and forth.
I don't know how you do it. I can't stand doing commercials. I
haven't done one in so long that I'm not sure I could. I don't know if I could do one anymore.
I just don't know my place, I guess. Or I just don't.
Weird.
It's so weird. And and we're all under pressure at all times. But that commercial pressure of when they're shooting and they want something, to me is like, and maybe it's that they want something and there's 10 people over here and another 10 people over here with opinions. It's not cohesive like opinions usually, because one wants to sell and one wants it to look good or something.
There's a lot of being in the middle and just chasing a suggestion or an email for sure.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't know that I could. I mostly did commercials with Laura, and so that's a little different because I know she's never going to like throw me under the bus. I know she's never going to just drop some weird, impossible thing on me and be like, go, this is what they want. Go find it. But it's
a crazy, and I always applaud like commercial decorators. I applaud because I can do a lot. I can upstand a lot. Like there's something about that, but it's such good money. It's so much better money for your stress. So then you get offered one, you're like, I don't know, 3 weeks of hell and a lot more money.
Fast. It doesn't feel like it when you're in it, but they are.
So you have been working on and off with Laura Fox for a long time. I started to look at your music videos that you have done and I was freaking out, and then I went down a rabbit hole of watching all the videos and then just jamming out, and then I was like, you know what, all these videos, that would actually make a good playlist. And then I was like making a play. I'm like, I gotta focus, I gotta get back to my questions. But I go back and forth with my love for Michael Jackson because now I'm a mother and I shouldn't like Michael Jackson. So I very much, it's like, like in the Cosby Show. You can't, I don't know what to do.
It's a complicated process.
I need to know because it was Marlon Brando.
It was crazy.
Okay. So it's Michael Jackson's You Rock My World. The video has Marlon Brando in it and Chris Tucker. And
Michael Madsen.
Yeah.
And I should have rewatched it.
It's a crazy little story going on, but did you see Michael? Did you talk to Michael?
I did not talk to Michael.
Okay.
Sure. I glimpsed Michael.
Yeah.
The coolest Michael thing was there was like a little stage on the set, and he had a tented entrance to the back of the set, which was then behind our little fake stage. And there was a day or a night, I can't remember, where he was back there just like warming up a cappella, and everyone kind of just like stopped what they were doing and all sat and listened. And that was very cool. That's really cool. I had no Marlon Brando story, but because I left one night at midnight, I said, I'm going home. I'm exhausted. And Laura said 20 minutes later, an AD or someone came over and was like, Marlon would like to speak with the set decorator.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had just gotten home after sitting there for God knows how many hours. And so Laura was like, well, she just left. I guess I'll go talk to Marlon. And he wanted to know where we got these string curtains. And he's asked if we imported them like from India or Morocco. And she's like, and in my head, I'm going, I I think we just got her the Bed Bath & Beyond.
Right? It's like, oh, yeah.
But then she said, I just told him because I realized to Marlon Brando that was probably just as exotic as India or Morocco. He'd probably never been to the Bed Bath & Beyond.
The Beyond. He's the Beyond.
So yeah, I think we boxed those up and someone dropped them off at Marlon Brando's house.
Well,
but not me. Again, not me. I never.
That's an even better story, though. He liked my tassels. He liked my fringe.
The fringe curtains. Yeah. You never know what it's going to be.
No, you never know. Jan Pascal had a story of like, now I'm forgetting what even actor it was, but they called her all the way back to the set and she was like dying. Like she had just left. And I think it was like George Clooney. Like it's someone called her back to the set and she was like, I'm dying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to change everything. And they were like, where'd you get this lamp? Like, you know what I mean? Like there should be some sort of like, is this a panic call?
Right.
Do they want something from me? Like,
they hate something or do they love something?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't had that, but I've had that like discussion and they're like, what do you want? Like, because I used to think, set decorators should be talking to actors. We should be, because we're developing that character with them. And then I think as you work, you're like, I don't need any more opinions. And the truth is that we're on a lot longer than the actors are, unfortunately. Like we've dealt, weeks and weeks with, figuring out who this person is and getting insight. And so I don't need anything now.
I know. That's how every now and then it's like, if you feel like you're making a specific choice, it's like, are they gonna like that or not? You know, but I've had a lot of problems. I've had a lot of anxiety, but not a lot of like, I don't think my character would have this.
Yeah. But so I would have anxiety on Gaslit. I would be like diarrhea every day or something. Like Julia Roberts and Sean Penn, I'd be like, I don't think I could do that project. I'm sorry,
there was definitely Penthouse anxiety. Yeah, not really with any of the other sets, I don't think, but yeah, with the Penthouse.
With the Penthouse. Now, was that replicated after their actual house, or was that like a combination of like times and?
It was like the pictures of their real place are seriously like 8-foot popcorn ceilings. They had this blue they had like 2 pianos, so I kept wanting to put a piano in, and it kept like the set would get redesigned, and I'd be like, well, now it's not going to fit, even though it was a huge set. Like weirdly, things wouldn't fit in it anywhere. And they had this blue sofa, and so Jill and I had been determined to do a blue sofa. We bought a sofa at Wertz Brothers. We had it reupholstered, and then I had just on a whim like bought one from a store in Arizona that I saw on Instagram. And because it was just a beautiful period sofa. And as we were dressing it, I was like, it's not going to be the blue. Like, I mean, that was our one anchor all along. But the designer and director and everyone before I even got there had looked at the reference pictures of their real place and thought, this doesn't, not to a contemporary audience.
Yeah.
This doesn't read as wealthy, powerful, glamorous.
Right. You have to enhance.
Yes.
But it's such a weird time because you can make 70s style look so cool now because if you redo a great chair and you redo a sofa and everything, you can make it look so attractive. But when you look at pictures of the 70s and late 70s, it's no good.
Yeah.
Really,
and we were like early to mid, I guess.
Right.
But then we were also like, Republican politics, so we were definitely the conservative end of things for the most part. We got to have a little fun with the beans. But I tend to love the ugly, kitschy, like our designer Dan would be like, oh, I love this. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love it. It's beautiful. It's hideous. And it's beautiful.
Well, there's that one chair that's in like that Julia's sitting in. I think it's like a powder blue or blue. And if you look at that chair and like the wings it has on, it's like a statement. It's like such a
And there was a pair of them, and those we didn't even they had been reupholstered. We found those at the Pasadena Antique Mall, and put them on the set.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah, they're at Warner Brothers.
Oh, see. How do you? Sometimes I get very proud when I see things when we're in the prop house and like, oh, I like that chair. Oh yeah, I made that. I did that. I kind of did that. That's crazy. And then I think, oh, I kind of did that. And now somebody else is going to do that. And so I go back and forth with it.
I never used to have that. I was always just like, this is a great thing and I want it to be in a prop house because like everyone loved this thing. Maybe it was on Gaslit that I had that thing of like, well, I don't want to swap things out or whatever, give things to the prop houses and have someone else use it and have theirs come out before mine. It was the first time I really did feel like, no, we found this amazing stuff.
I will tell you this. I always let people have the curtains because you usually have to, make them and trim them and whatever, and they're never going to fit anywhere else. And it's always a nice thing if you're in somebody's house and like, oh, you like them, keep them, whatever. So I'm always like, oh, good. And then we don't have to take them down. Cool. And I was at the Biltmore and I had left curtains and I saw another company shooting in the room with my curtains. And I knew that it was going to come out before my show. And I thought, well, that's the last time I leave curtains. That's it. You ruined it for everyone. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So
was it the presidential suite?
It was the JFK room. Yeah.
Is it the pale
blue? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm scouting that tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. And what's her name? Bei Ling or whatever. She gives you cookies at the Biltmore. She's a fantastic hostess, but she's got my curtains up there now, and I'm kind of pissed about it. But lesson learned.
I have to swap them out. So.
Hey, well, they're beautiful curtains.
But I just saw them. I was just watching something, and I was like, oh yeah, they're in the room.
Well, whatever. It is that thing where, well, it's a beautiful thing, and it's kind of a compliment, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And
then weirdly, no one. I find it endlessly amazing that we all are in the same locations with the same things from prop houses for like decades, and no one ever really puts it together watching.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I'm recreating one set, and my buyer was like, "Oh, I had that chair on Lakers." I was like, "Oh, I've never seen it, but yeah, it's at Warner Brothers. Yeah, I can get that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool," because I never saw it before. So cool.
Right. I never noticed it.
Did you like doing music videos? I just want to get back to that for a second because you did some really inspiring ones. I mean, you worked with J-Lo, Janet Jackson, The Killers, Gwen Stefani. I mean, the whole beginning of the 2000s, your music videos are like staples of
we had a ton of fun. I still miss them. Okay, like I miss not the way probably they are now, but I miss like when we did them because it was just
well, they were like movies.
Yeah, and they were big. I mean, it was like $1 million music videos back then. That was a lot to spend at a 3-day shoot. 2-day shoot, 5-day shoot, I don't know. They were really fun. I think it was a great place to sort of start and just learn, it was all non-union, so it was just sort of like bring coffee in the morning and then go to some prop houses and then go to Home Depot and buy screws and then scenic a wall and dress a set.
Those were the days. How did you get into this? How is this your love of your life, your career?
I had a kernel of this idea when I was still living in Chicago, which is where I grew up, and then I went to school in Central Illinois and then moved back to Chicago. And I did a semester and a half of interior design school. It didn't feel really like I wanted to do, and I was a terrible student. I was a terrible student when everyone was in school, so being in school and working when no one else was in school, I was like an extra terrible student. So I just sort of gave up. And then I'd always want to move out here, and I moved out here with a boyfriend. And after I'd been here about a year or so and figured out, oh, you didn't have to have gone to film school. You didn't have to, you know, like you can kind of just stumble into this somehow.
Yeah.
I like got fax numbers out of Variety or the Reporter or whatever, the office numbers. And I had my like little resume and a cover letter, and I sent them off to art departments and said, I will intern. So I interned because that boyfriend was nice enough to support me not working for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or however long that was. And hit it off with the decorator, and then worked a few things with her. And then that boyfriend and I broke up, and I rented a room from someone who did playback on music videos. And she said, oh, you should come meet this cool art department I work with. So I eventually went to work with her and met Laura Fox.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And then, was her PA for years, and then just sort of self-taught under her, like how to be a decorator.
Yeah.
So I have huge imposter syndrome sometimes.
Well, you have to have good taste. You have to have some sort of natural ability in it. It's not all learned. I'd have to say there's instinct.
And I think I've just always been observant, and I mean, even still, I'm shocked when I'll go somewhere and I'll comment on something and everyone else is like, oh, I didn't even notice that. And I'm like, you didn't notice that the artwork is 1 inch from the ceiling? Yeah. Like, it's such a bizarre thing. You didn't notice that the art is touching the ceiling.
Yeah, that's us. That's what we're looking at.
That's the part that is what I really love. I like kind of all the weird off. I can do beautiful and perfect.
Yeah.
That's not naturally what I'm good at.
Well, you're pretty good at it. You're pretty good at that too, so that's awesome. If you could pick your next project of like, what do you think it would be?
Oh, I don't know.
Like a location, or would you stay here? Would you go back to?
I do like going on location. I mean, I don't know if I could do like literally just anything.
Yeah. What would it be?
Terrible at this. It's like picking a favorite anything. I'm so bad at this. I do like working here. It's fun to be out of town, but it's like now that I'm married.
Yeah.
Cats, like it's also lonely to be out of town and all you do is work.
Yeah. It's 24/7 because there's nothing else to do.
And you're like, well, I don't know. I don't have any friends here anyway. I'll just work through the weekend. And I do, because I have now been here and had the benefit of working with the same people over and over and realizing how helpful that is for a team where you're not just starting from
comfortable zero. Shoes are always good.
Really. So I think I would pick something here, but I don't know. Maybe like Wes Anderson could do his next movie.
Something like that. Yeah.
Seems fun.
That's like...
It's hard. It seems really hard because like every little thing super matters.
Who did I talk to? I talked to the decorator who did the French Dispatch, and she said, and I'm totally blanking, Regina.
Oh, O'Brien?
No, it's a different...
yes.
It begins with a D. I'll think...
So I know that I know
I'll edit it in. D'Angelo? Shit. She said, he's very clear, actually, of what he wants and what he doesn't want. So it does help, but it is a lot. And he sketches so much that it's wonderful to have that, visual that everyone's on the same page. So it sounded hard, but not probably awful.
Well, because he strikes me as someone with a very controlled frame also. Yeah. So one of the things I struggle with all the time now is that everywhere on a locations mostly, it's like, well, we have to see the world.
Yeah.
And we definitely need 100 feet of depth.
Right.
For the scene, and you're like, what am I going to put in there? Or even in a set where they build it large enough for everyone to shoot in. And it's like, well, we're going to shoot it small. it's like, yeah, but it's still my job to fill that room.
There's always that. I always say, well, what am I doing in this dance floor?
Yeah.
What is this? And they're like, oh, do you think we could get a rug here? And I go, what? You want me to throw like a 5x7 rug just floating in the middle of the room? Like, no, I don't know. Let me think. Like, it is weird. Our perspective of sets, people, you don't really see that we're dressing a lot. Like, rooms are big usually because we need to get camera and crew out of there. There's usually always like an odd door because you kind of always want one or two
doors. Yeah, always nowhere.
2 crew access, and then you're like, what am I doing with this weird jetting out door over
weird here? Entryway that doesn't make any sense here.
It's a lot, and it's never like I've worked with many producers, Morgan Sackett, who was like, we're seeing this. We are not seeing over here. Don't do that. I don't even want anything on that wall. Like, and there are some producers you can trust, but not getting caught is the worst. We're going to shoot over here now, and you're like, I don't.
Oh, the reverse.
Yeah.
The reaction shot.
Yeah. Oh, one wall set doesn't really. I never trust a one wall set. Is it like, oh, it's in a location, we're going to go in another room and we're only going to see the one wall, and you're like,
oh no, and then you're watching the dailies and you're like, where even are they? They're in a totally different down a hall in a different room that we never even saw.
Then you talk to your on-set dresser and you're like, you did what? They had you do what? I'm so sorry you had to do that. They have to move.
Yeah, you're telling them that was never talked about.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. I always forget that they don't know what was talked about.
They think we're liars. I love Hacks. I love that show.
I know, I do too.
I don't want to work on it, but I love it. I was so excited for the second season. No, so I was on Rutherford Falls on the lot when you guys were there.
Get that out.
Yeah.
Now.
So I was always trying to peek my head, especially into the Gaslit sets too, like always trying to peek my head in of like what you guys were doing, but especially with Hacks because I had loved the first season, and I kept seeing that big bus. And I've only done a bus as like a campaign thing, and it was awful. So how much fun was it doing the bus?
It was when we started, I was like, oh, the bus, it's going to be so much. And then it ended up, it was a lot for it was a lot for construction, right. And a lot for Universal Drapery, who like wrapped all those panels and upholstered the bed for me, did all of that. And we had to make all these crazy window treatments that, I don't think they ever closed any of them. Or moved any of that. There were like shears on top and bottom ripple track that I didn't want them to flop around like a little dumb RV, and right. Then they wanted a pull down shade. So it was like rigged off the set. There were these like fabric roller shades that could come down, and I don't think they
on the inside or outside?
On the inside.
On the inside. I don't
think they ever.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever used them. That was so that was really hard. But then like it sort of came together once we landed on the design. And then it was just about like, wait, how much space do I have for the cat? I think we had to shave down like parts of they had to unupholster the sofa and like shave something down and wedge it in, like there was some puzzling in like that. But for me, it came together fairly. We also had a long time to do it because they kept pushing it back, and they kept saying, we're not going to see it until episode 3, I think, and that will be our permanent. It was like, that's going to be the big permanent set.
Because you basically did all new sets this season. She's on the road. I don't even know if you went back to her mansion, her house, because you went to her LA house.
We did her office and Marcus's office, and the Christmas room was new. That one, right? That was in the very beginning, and then in the last scene or the second or last episode, her bedroom came back. So it was like piece. There were elements that we had to redo
because she was in like a whole new house too. She was in like Spanish, right?
The LA house.
Yeah.
Well, the LA house, yeah, the like 90s LA house was.
Yeah. I love that house. Like, whatever location that was fun.
Like Deborah's 90s LA mansion. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah.
The 90s are the worst. But I think you nailed of like that period of like rich but cheap, but like
finding movies fun now.
Yeah. I don't I'm in the 2000s now. I just went from 90s now to the 2000s, and I'm embarrassed of things like that were cool then that I did decorate in the 2000s. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm decorating it's a period piece, and I'm decorating what I did.
I think the early 2000s are hard because you're like, what were they? I don't know. I guess there was that like.
Well, a Tuscan kitchen, I'll tell you that. Yeah. Like,
I will say that part of what is so fun about period, and was fun about the early 70s for sure, is people just did crazier things.
Yeah.
You know, like you can have some fun. One of the books I had, because our director, Matt Ross on Gaslit, was definitely like, I don't want it to be kitschy. I don't want it to be like, you know, and I was like, yeah, but residences were just pretty kitschy for the most part. And I had this decorating book that was like for more subdued tastes. And it was like red walls, red shag carpet, all red and black furniture, like traditional furniture, but like in red leather. I mean, the whole room, and then just this thick red shag carpet. And I was like, this is for more subdued tastes. That is what the chapter in the decorating book is called.
That's fantastic. Like, these are the subdued people of the time.
Yeah.
Jesus. But saying that and having costumes, you know, have to play off of all the sets. Like, how much did you have on Gaslit and with Deborah's, you know, wardrobe and hacks, which I'm talking to Kathleen. I know Kathleen for a couple of years, and I'm talking to her next week. But
fun.
Yeah. So I would have to think, especially on Gaslit, the wardrobe, and you got to talk.
They would come. I mean, everything on Gaslit was just so fast, and not fast. It was just relentless. It was just like, we never had a hiatus. It was, and we shot it like a movie.
Right.
So it was just 101 straight days. And then Sean Penn stopped coming to work, and we had to move the whole schedule around. And
that sounds about right.
Never missed a day. Yeah. So it was just like, anytime you saw anyone else from another department, you'd be like, this is what I heard. What did you hear? Like, this is what we're, you know, this is what we're doing. I just show them. Yeah. I just tried to show them things, whatever we could. Hacks. I think because it was the second season, so I had a sense so much of who Deborah was.
Right.
And then we just tried to keep, for the most part, we tried to keep her, I mean, it wasn't subdued, but like it was like solids. And, you know, I didn't do a lot of pattern and things because she has so much of that in her ward.
Yeah. And that dressing room of hers is so fantastic. I mean, who doesn't want a room like that?
Oh, her Vegas.
Yes, her Vegas. I love that room. I love those. I love that vanity and the mirror and like everything.
Then we just ruined it. We made it a DJ.
You made it a DJ? Wait, when? At the last season? In the last episode?
In our season, yeah, when she goes back, it's like DJ Ludwig's, or MC Ludwig's dressing room. So it's all painted black with like neon and this big duck sculpture and like all
right.
Yeah. But we had to take poor Ellen and John Carlos's beautiful set and just like rip it all out and destroy it.
Well, I mean, hey, it's another character set. That's all.
It moves on.
With hacks, did you block shoot? Did you have a lot of prep time?
I don't remember how much prep time I had. It literally, like, I had 1 or 2 weeks of overlapping with wrapping Gaslit and prepping hacks, which it was all universal. I just kind of went back and forth between the two offices. But I can't remember even how many weeks it was. It's too much of a blur.
Did you have you taken some time off?
I I did after hacks. I was like,
Okay,
I am
good.
leaving the state and then I am leaving the country
Good.
so that I do not get sucked into another job. And then I ended up with like close to 3 months off. So a lot.
Oh, nice.
But I was like, I need to not work so I can remember that I love my job, because I was just fried.
I think I used to have like a couple weeks off and I get itchy. Like, I gotta get back to work. And now I'm sort of like, when am I going back? I'm ready to go back. I don't want to go back. I love my job. I just don't want to work. Like, I love all of this and all of our people and all of that, the stress of it, even of how many people it takes to get it done.
And how crazy it is.
But I hate like that waking up and you're at work. There's nothing, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, you could say, oh, I work 7 to 7 or whatever. No, when you work in TV and film, when you wake up, you're at work.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I wake up in the middle of the night and buy things online.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
I wake up at 3 in the morning and shop.
Yes.
Which is like sick.
I wake up and I'm like, curtains.
Like, because I thought of something, or I'm like, does this exist? Is this a thing I can get in time?
Yes. I used to keep a notepad next to me in the old days, but now it's just sort of like whatever your phone is. And then this is what I do. I will open up the page and then I'll put it down. And then when I wake up, I know I have to do it.
Yeah, I do some of that too.
I'll leave that Amazon like, oh, my cart's full, but I can't right now.
You can't quite check out.
Yeah. Because I've worked with like showrunners who like email you at like 3 a.m. And you wake up and you see like, oh my God, she was awake. And then it's like, well, that's just her process. Like, that's just how they were. Or like, but there's no privacy in our job. There's no, like, even if the art department is working the weekend and you're not, they're still going to email you all these drawings or whatever. There's no boundaries when you're on a job.
And I always think, like, people will be like, oh, just set up an email just for that job, and then you just don't check it. And I'm always like, I don't, but then Monday, that just makes your Monday bad? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no rule.
Yeah. I mean, I have a work email that's completely overwhelming, and I have a personal email, but...
Mine are all jumbled, which is probably not great.
I can't. I get so many emails from shows when you work. I can't find something that was sent to me this morning. There's like 26 emails since 10 a.m. It's the emailing on shows. I think, especially since COVID, has just gotten out of control. It's too much.
Yes, and people don't keep things within a subject heading, so you can't then go back and search. Now, whatever Apple has done, I feel like the mail search thing is a disaster. You can never find anything. I got rid of, I don't do that. I'm all Gmail. You're all Gmail now.
Because it's a better search. That's exactly, you just said that and it clicked to me. That's why I don't do the Apple. But the other thing is that, Google will separate, and then you're like, I didn't get a script. And then it's like in promotions. And you're like, well, I never check promotions because I'm not going to Bed Bath today. So I'm like, how did my script get in here? So there's always something with emails now.
Something with everything.
Are you ready for the creatives? What night is your event? Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday the 4th. Sunday of like Labor Day weekend.
Ooh. Yeah. It's fun.
I don't know. I don't have a sense of what to expect at all. I can't really get anyone.
Well, whatever you do, you have to have someone pretend they're your press person. So when you walk up to that red carpet, you should try to coordinate with your whole department to get there at the same. Well, wait a minute. Well, the last time I went, it wasn't even a dinner. It was like a kind of a buffet kind of thing. Like, it wasn't tables. It was like cocktail tables and seating.
Is the ceremony? I pictured the ceremony just in rows.
The ceremony's in the theater.
Right.
And there's a bar. Listen, that lobby is a joke. If you're gonna get COVID, you're gonna get it in that lobby. So you might want to bring a mask because everyone's like this, and you're trying to get your drinks.
Yeah.
So but you're seeing everybody, so you want to, so try to get. I think once I got there early once and got to like talk to people. Every other time I'm like down in my drink, but you can get up and get a drink too if you want, because it's long. It's long. And funny enough, when my dad is like in a walker and not, it's not great, but I remember being like, "Oh, Dad, it's my category," and then I didn't win it, and he goes, "What happened?" And I go, "I didn't win," and he goes, "Let's go." I go, "I can't go." He goes, "I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go," and I go, "Dad, I cannot stand up and leave right now. They're accepting the award that I just lost." Like, and he like looked at me like in rage, like, "I gotta go," and I was like, "You're gonna have to piss your pants. I'm not getting up and leaving right now. You have to wait at least one more category."
Very Selena Meyer kind of move.
Yeah, that's basically yes. That was my Selena Meyer moment. But yeah, that's the theater, and then you gotta like walk in your heels over to the convention center, which I think I'm assuming, I don't know, that's where they have it, and then that room is just done up like unbelievable. It's really decorated beautifully, and I'm always in awe of what they do. And
events as a whole.
I even follow that. It's like Sequoia something, and I follow them because I just love how they do events and everything. But yeah. But like I said,
I kind of hate when I have to do events as a set, because I'm like, it always looks like someone that doesn't do events did it. Like, I don't know what their magic sauce is that they do. Yeah,
it always just looks like somebody put together a party. Like, that's how I feel too. I'm like, this theme wasn't right.
I'll think it looks good, and then I look at it later, and I'm like, no, look at this beautiful real event.
Yeah, but I hope you get a sit-down dinner. But the food's always good. It's just, of course, the one year I like brought my parents who would like to sit down. It was a little rough. It was a little rough, but it was always like super nice. But it's a good. I mean, you're gonna have a great time. Win or lose, you're gonna have a good time. I think you got some good chances here, though. I know.
You never can tell. I mean, I don't know.
You don't. Yes. I don't think you can ever tell, because sometimes people win and I go, "What?"
Right. You're like, "Oh, that was even nominated." I mean, it's such a weird. I think it's just like the overall feeling of the show.
That's why I think you gotta enjoy this nomination process, because it's awesome until your name isn't called. Yeah. And then you're like, "Oh,
leave."
Yeah, you can be my dad and just want to get up and leave.
No, it is. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time. It's a celebration of all of our work, and there's so many people. Like, while you're sitting there in those 5 hours, you see so many other like categories, and you're like, "Oh my god, best theme song!" But then everybody's so happy everybody's so happy for each other. It's so nice, like, because we're all exhausted, really. But it's so nice. What else? I mean, I think we covered a lot. See, you thought it was going to be long. It was only like an hour. I mean, I wanted to hear a little bit about Arrested Development, because I love that show.
I also love that show. I got that call like the day after my birthday, I think. Like, I just recently saw a Facebook post that was like, "Best belated birthday present ever," and I was like, "Oh, I know that was the call for Arrested," because it's like, it was like I owned the show. I loved the show.
Yes.
I had never done TV. It was like Netflix's second. House of Cards came out while we were shooting it, but it was the Wild West. No one knew it was happening. I didn't know any better. It was bonkers. But I met my husband on that show.
Well, there you go. That is best present ever.
I was just telling everyone at work last week. I go, "Look, my thing is, I hate every job while I'm doing it, because they're all hard and stressful, and I like don't want to fail. So I hate it while I'm doing it, and as soon as they're over, I love them all, and I learn from it." So.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
Tony at Green Sets years ago. I was out of town and one of my friends was in there riding around in a golf cart with him. And he was like, I miss Jen. I was working out of town. And she's like, I know I do too. And he goes, I miss the way she hates every job. But then she every job. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I do. I hate all of them while I'm doing them. And then they're over and I love them.
I think that's a lot of people. Because when you're in the misery, it's like it's like childbirth in a sense of like women forget how bad it was, so they'll do it again. Like that's
never go back.
Basically like a Stockholm syndrome we're all in or something. Like,
well, it's like they're all the same, but then they're all hard in their own special way. I don't know.
Oh yeah, like do you know Ethan Goodwin? He's a good friend of mine, and he has been my buyer a couple times, and then he always leaves me, which is fine. He's my butterfly, and I always say, why are you It's the same shit every show. It's the same shit. We're all in it, and it sucks and it's hard. But then you're gonna go to another show. It's still gonna. You might as well just stay with me. It's like
I had a day. There was a day on Gaslit on the Tech Scout. The second day, I think, of the Tech Scout, and I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit. I don't think I can do this.
Yeah.
And I did. Like, I sat through the lunch, which was given to us. This was COVID, so of course it's like, here's your sandwich you ordered, and we were like in a parking lot. I was sitting on like a parking curb.
Yeah.
By myself on the floor in like August. It was hot, and I was like, here I am, I'm just gonna sit on the ground and eat this sandwich. And somewhere in there, like the designer came over and he was so like upbeat and nice. And then he walked away and I was like, all the people here are really nice. Like, I was like, everyone's nice and everyone's kind of supportive in this bonkers environment. And I was like, I'm just gonna leave and go to another show that's also doesn't have enough time. No one's made enough decisions. There's not enough anything. And it's going to be the same. I'm like, so I might as well be with nice people.
Yes, absolutely. That is absolutely it. You gotta, it's like the comfortable shoe. You gotta be happy with the people around you because it's just going to be crazy. And I don't see, like, I think it's awesome that we have so much work available and so many shows and everything's big and everything's like exciting to do, but it's killing us.
It is. Everything can't be a feature. Like, everything can be a 10-hour feature made on like the TV template from like or even Modern Family, whatever, like that, whatever little template they roll out and think, well, it's 10 episodes.
I don't know how that changes though, because we've been able to produce such wonderful things. Look at your nominations. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful work in all departments, and we all get it done. And I don't get it. I don't get why it's acceptable that we all stress and I don't know.
I know, I don't either. Well, and that's like, I'm doing Beverly Hills Cop right now, and so I've been watching, the 1980s, the 80s, and we all just laugh at like the production value.
Yeah, the story kind of holds up, except for that guy was a drug dealer. Like, why was he your best friend? Does anybody care? I watched that like in the last year. It's good.
It's good, but we're talking about, my production supervisor was talking about having just worked with Karen O'Hara, and she was like, oh my God, every drawer in the office, like everything had was dressed and period paperwork, period, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm always like so in awe of that. And then at the same time, I feel like it's so much busy work that's never going to be on camera. Like, I'm always like, I feel like it's a happy medium maybe.
Yeah.
But then I pulled up a still from the original Beverly Hills Cop where he's like standing with like a file drawer open in front of him, foreground, and it's just green hanging files. Like, there's not there's
no paperwork in them?
There's no manila folder, there's no paper, there's no tabs. And then when you look in the background on one of the wall sorters, it's not files, it's just like someone took a ream of paper and put it in vertically, and it's just all
floppy. Oh my God.
And I was like, maybe more paperwork than this, though.
Yeah, I know. It's a different level. It's a different level now. I remember when there wasn't HD and you could get away with scratches on shit. You could actually rent from a old school Warner Brothers. Like, yeah, it's it's just a different game now. If you showed up like that, although I do see some stuff and I'm like, oof, did they turn the camera around and no one told anyone?
No.
Like,
No.
There has to be some explanation because the rest of this looks fantastic. Like, what
Right.
happened?
Well, and then the other flip side, somewhere in the middle of Gaslit too, I was like on a flight flying back, in the morning, and the woman next to me on the airplane, I was so stressed about this set that I had to like finish and open and worrying about all the details. And she was watching, something not only on her phone, but on her phone vertically. Like she didn't even turn it.
Oh.
And I was like, you monster. Like, what? And I had that moment of like, is this how people are going to watch things now on a 1-inch screen? Like, who cares?
Yeah. I've seen my work on a TV screen in the airplane and I'm like, is anybody laughing? A lot of people are watching this. This is it? I don't know. I know. I think about it too. But then this is what I think the biggest compliment is that down the road or somewhere, someone's like, I watched that and that inspired me and that's what made me get into this, or that, or I saw that set. We tried to replicate that in a reference to your work, and it's like, oh, well, I mean, I've never had that happen to me, but like, I think that's the ultimate compliment.
When you get like a random message on Facebook or Instagram, like, hey, were you the set decorator? Where did you get that? It's always something I didn't get. Like, it's always a painting that was in the location. But I'm always like, thank you for noticing the set dressing, period. Like, I don't care what it was.
I do lastly have to ask about Goldbergs because I'm from Philly and I'm from that period. And right. So I know Corey. I know Corey very well. And so I am always like in awe of the first couple seasons of that show, with the exception of that kid's non-Philly accent. He's got like a Chicago accent or something, I don't know. But how was it really difficult getting all that 80s stuff and clearing it? And
that one was a blur too. My husband, all I remember is my husband was out of town. I'd never done network TV. I think I had only done Arrested at that point. So I was in a little it's just sorting it all out.
Yeah.
I think I worked for free every weekend, going to estate sales and thrift stores and everything under the sun. Clearance wise, but I had very specific things. Like, I really was excited to do the 80s. Yeah. I probably bought a ton of stuff because I thought we'd be doing all these. I thought we'd be like, the kids would be having sleepovers at their friends. I just had a totally different.
You were working on a different show.
Like a sitcom, like how it really is, where they're just on the set all the time, like I hadn't really understood that. I probably bought a ton of stuff that maybe they used it in their warehouse eventually.
Sure.
And clearance wise, I don't remember it being that bad. I know we paid to license a ton of the stuff, but it was all things that were like written in movie posters and the whatever. And so it was just like, we're just doing it.
Oh yeah,
we just paid for it all.
They pay such homage to like Goonies and Star Wars, and I know because I worked with Corey on the Star Wars film, and Adam wrote it, so
right.
I know that he had like some in with the Star Wars people, so I'm sure that was fine. But there were so many perfect, like even like I know it's props, but even the stonewashed like backpack that Barry had, I had, or like there was just so many things like in her room that like the caboodles and everything that you nailed it. It was so.
But it's the same thing. So it's just like that was my growing up too. You know what I mean? So it's whenever the writers would write some weird thing in, the script supervisor and I were like, or not script supervisor, the UPM. And I'd be like, this is peak 90s, like Boys to Men. No. There's no.
Nana Cherry. Like,
someone has to, but I'd just go in. I'd be like, Vern, he'd be like, I already flagged it. I already told him, like we were just laughing because we're the exact same age. And I was like, no, I just remember, like, was I in junior high? Was I in high school?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's awesome. That would have been, that's gotta be.
I had a lot of very specific things from like, I I was trying to match the pilot. I don't remember trying to like put a lot of Philly specifically in though.
Well, I think they did. I mean, I always appreciated anything they gave you, like a tasty cake or Wawa or like,
they did,
you know, the flyer. He's big on the flyers and everything. So I was always
have all that,
happy with that. It was so funny. I think they're done. I think they're because I'm at Sony. I think they're wrapping up like with 8 episodes or something for their final season, which I hung on to that show for a long time, and then I was like, nah. Like, they're in college, but they're still living at home. Like, I don't even get what's going on now.
I know, right at a certain point.
Yeah, like, they didn't really...
something.
But, and they can't really still be in the 80s. Like, that was always...
That's what drove me nuts doing the show, because everything was just 1980 something. But there'd be something from, like, 1988 and something from 1981 happening in the same episode, and I was like...
Yeah. It definitely was a mesh.
I learned to let that go.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
At the time, it's funny because I remember Adam being like, look, I don't know how long I'm going to get to do, you know, he's like, I want to put in all my things. I don't know how long it's going to go on. And I'm like, well, 10 years. You could have just done 1 year of the 80s. I do appreciate it, but I think working in it, I would always feel like, well, is this too late? Is this too long? Right. Is this, why are we... So I'm with you. I think it would have annoyed me. But yeah. Yeah, because the early 80s looks like the 70s and the late 80s looks like what we think of as the 80s.
It looks like Beverly Hills Cop.
Like that too.
When do you start? Oh, so you're tech scouting Monday. When do you start shooting? What a doll. I have only, I think, met her maybe once or twice, like an SDSA meeting, and just kind of in passing. And she was actually kind enough a couple months ago or so to let me know that she recommended this podcast to an aspiring art student. And that is just a huge compliment. It really is. And I thanked her profusely, and then kept baiting her to be on the podcast, because what an amazing career. And I am telling you, it is really not easy to be nominated twice, like in the same night. Like, that is gonna be just so, I don't know, so amazing. Like, that's just great. That's just, and 2 different categories. You're not even up against yourself. I mean, that's kind of the best thing. So I just wish her tons of luck. And yeah, if you are an Emmy voter, voting starts the 12th to the 22nd, I believe. I don't have it in front of me, of course, because, you know, why would I? But yeah, and you can check out Jen's Instagram at Jen Lukeheart, JenLukeheart. And yeah, that was fantastic. Now, next week, I have another Emmy-nominated wonderful woman, costume designer Kathleen Felix Hager, who I worked with on Veep for a couple years, and talk about a doll. She's just the sweetest thing. And she is nominated again and again for her work on Hacks. So I'm super excited to speak with her, as just to catch up, because I haven't spoken to her in a while, but also to talk about costumes. Like, I'm really getting all these questions in my head lately about it. It's like when with Pat Irvin with music, like all of a sudden I just had so many questions that I hope you do too. And if you have any questions, you can always email me at kimwanup@decoratingpagespodcast.com. If you have any suggestions for a guest, please email me also. If you're watching something that has awesome production design and you think it wants a shout out, email me. Or I'm, all the social media. And then you could just rate the podcast while you're at it. 5 stars. Click. Awesome. Well, I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wanup for Decorating Pages. Don't let summer float you by. Grab your Stogie Floaty and get floatin'. And get free shipping using promo code FLOATFREE on Etsy and stogiefloaty.com.
Welcome to Pro Tips for the Pros, brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads. In this series, we'll explore essential advice for professional contractors to deliver outstanding renovation results. Let's dive in. Keep the work area clean and organized throughout the renovation process to create a positive impression and minimize stress for the customer. Regularly clean up debris and dust to maintain a safe and comfortable living environment. Thank you for joining us for this pro tip on planning thorough renovations. Stay tuned for more expert advice brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads.
A lot of people tolerate ordinary. Ordinary bathrooms, kitchens, entryways. Well, not on your watch. If you're a pro, you've got a new partner in town. Floor & Decor. From tile to wood to stone, Floor & Decor has more styles and job lot quantities of Schluter, Mapei, Laticrete, and other brands pros trust. Come see a whole new way to wow with Floor & Decor. Coming soon to Bailey's Crossroads.